Hey, y'all. Welcome to Stand on Your Business podcast. I'm Nina Gonzalez. Oh, and I have my guest here, Andre Haynes, and my partner.
I am Natasha Robinson. Welcome to our very first episode of Stand on Your Business, where we are going to be giving you the business.
Hey, I know that's right.
Y'all first episode? Y'all first
First
guest?
episode.
You are our very first
Treat
guest.
us nice, Dre. Treat us nice.
So, Dre, thank you so much for making time to be here today. We
anytime.
greatly appreciate that.
In your very busy schedule.
Man, listen, I know when I need the money, you know what I'm saying? I pull up on y'all, so like when y'all call
We know
me,
where
I
to
definitely
get
got to
it.
show up.
We know where to get it. We just came back from an awesome trip. Got so much that we learned on that trip with, your mentors, a real estate group that we're part of. But before we get into that, can we talk a little bit about you?
Of course. As they said, my name is Andre. I'm from the south side of Chicago, the Ivy Wells Projects. South side. I don't come from any financial literacy, government assisted, everything. A lot of trauma in my life, childhood trauma. My parents, were affected heavily by the drug epidemic that swept through the, inner cities across the country in the late 80s and early 90s. Ended up being adopted into my own family. And since then, I, have attained over a 7-figure real estate portfolio, utilizing an amazing program called
Say
NACA.
that again. 7 figures.
In addition to that, I'm a public speaker. I'm an author. I've grown to create a brand and do a host of amazing things coming from that trauma, and I always tell people that mindset matters more than anything, and you should never let your circumstances dictate your outcome. And I'm a prime example of that.
Mindset matters. Keep that right at the top of your mind as we go through this podcast.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to go ahead and jump right into it. So me and Nina are both lenders, and we always hear about this NACA program, right? NACA program always has the lowest interest rates, different programs. So tell us a little bit about the NACA program. Everyone always asks us about it, and I always tell people you should not ask some other lender
that's they
about a different lender's program because we don't sell that program, so you're not going to get the real information unless you get it from somebody that actually works that program.
Yeah, because essentially y'all asking Nina or Natasha about NACA is like asking them, to take money out of their pocket, and that's not what they in business for. But I do tell people all of the time, if you are in the business of purchasing your first property, especially a multi-unit, you will not find a lower cost of entry than the NACA program. I purchased my first 4-unit property in an amazing Chicago suburb, Forest Park, with no money down, no closing costs, no agent or attorney fees. I had a 3.5% interest rate and was able to buy it down to 2.5% using a seller's concession. I walked away from the closing table with all of the money that I saved up, which I thought I was going to have to use for a down payment, on top of $5,000 of the seller's money. And it just essentially changed my life. I went from making $26,000 a year after taxes to having about $26,000 cash in my account. And that's what catapulted everything that you guys see me doing today, whether it be, buying more property, whether it be me speaking, whether it be me, mentoring. All of those things started from that first NACA deal.
I love it. I tell everyone that real estate changes lives. Real estate changed my life, and we'll talk about that on a different episode, but real estate changes lives, and people think that you're just buying a property so you can say you bought a property or just for generational wealth, but it helps with a lot of things like self-esteem, like realizing your current salary situation, you're underpaid, and now your net worth has increased because you now have a property that's worth more than your job, and you can take yourself to the next level, right?
And lifestyle and freedom too.
Both of those things I can attest to, because immediately after closing on my property, I walked into checks. I closed at the end of the month, so rent was due the very next day.
Yes.
One of the units was available for me to move in, and the other 3 units, they all paid their rent on time, and after I paid the mortgage and all of the expenses, I had about $600 left over, and I was used to, at the beginning of the month, I'm paying money out. So it's like, now the tables done turned, I'm getting paid. I'm like, okay, I like this. And then since then, I've increased the rents every year. So that's 8 years of rent increase. So that has gone from $600 a month cash flow to about $2,500 a month cash flow from a place that I live in. Like,
That's
imagine,
amazing.
imagine living somewhere and every month on the first, instead of you paying that $2,500, it's giving you the money.
Exactly.
And that's possible with not just the NACA program. It's the mindset of people having to get off of that, being on the fence and
Absolutely.
taking ownership.
And for me, it was a no-brainer because I had tried everything. You know, in our communities, especially young black men, we were exposed to sports and entertainment mainly. So I had tried basketball, baseball, all of these different things. I had tried to rap, and mind
rap?
you, yeah, and I wasn't doing this stuff.
Make us make
and
you
listen,
go freestyle.
Yeah,
and I'm not gonna do that. But
he does. I heard it.
but I wasn't doing it on like a small scale either. Like, it was like on a major scale. Like, I was meeting with labels. I had songs on the radio. One of my good friends, he went on to sell hundreds of millions of records in the music industry. So like, I wasn't doing it like on a small scale or like just handing out mixtapes. I was really, really like out here trying to get to it like musically, and for me, it just didn't work out. And what it did was it kind of prepared me for everything that I'm doing now. So I tell people all of the time, the things that you're currently failing at, they're just preparing you for the things that you're going to excel at. You know what I mean? I'm speaking now on big stages, thousands of people, like, you know what I mean? Mentoring kids, all of these different things that I thought I would be doing with music, but I wasn't. And music just prepared me here, because now I have no fear of being on camera. I have no fear of talking. Like, it's a regular, natural thing for me because I spent all of those years in the music industry.
Yes.
That leads me into what I'm curious about you. So you gave me a little bit of insight into it, but what makes you so? What's the catalyst in you? Because NACA's helped thousands of people, right? So what was the difference? What was that moment that made you vocalize and be that champion to decide? Because I'm a vocal about it. Like, if that door opens, I'm going to leave it open for the next one to come in. So I want to hear, what is that moment that catapulted you on becoming an advocate?
That's a good question. Nobody ever asked me that. I think it was because, you know, I realized how much the information had changed my life, and I knew that not a lot of people knew about this. And I'm like, before I went through this process, I kind of like made a promise with God, like, man, like, I was down bad, y'all. Like I say, $26,000 after a year. I mean, after taxes in Chicago, that's essentially poverty. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, God, if you get me out of this situation, I promise with everything in me, I'm going to serve and assist whoever and however I can. You know what I'm saying? Because I was, like I say, man, like, some of the situations and circumstances I was in, I look back on them like, man, how you make it out of that? like, you know what I'm saying? So, and I'm just like, I know there are so many people in our communities, you know what I mean, and in our city and just around the nation who could just really take advantage and use this information, like, to go get a multi-unit property with no down payment. Like, that's unheard of, essentially. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, veterans can do it.
Like, in veterans, and that
Veterans
outside
can
of
do it.
that, I've never really like heard of people like with no factor of your credit score, like, which is a major thing, because, you know, your credit score affects your interest rate, and your interest rate affects your payment, which sometimes prices you out of even being able to afford a property. Down everything. You get what I'm saying to you? So being able to go to this program and they walk me through the door, holding my hand, you know what I mean, and saying, hey, look, we'll give you all of these benefits. Just do what we tell you to do and be patient. It was a no-brainer for me, because I didn't have the 3.5% down. I didn't have the 20% down. I didn't have any type of real down payment money at the time. And NACA allowed me to go through their program. They allowed me to save while I was going through their program. Essentially taught me all of the steps that would help me qualify for a mortgage. And most times, from my personal experience, lenders don't do that. It's like, you either qualify or you don't. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's not all right, cool, here's a checklist of things to do, come back, and then we'll pick up from where we left off at. Like, it don't work like that most times. You know what I mean? So with these people, the way that they able to assist, I just wanted to be able to lead people in a direction where they would have the right guidance and the proper, you know what I mean? Just the proper was mentorship on purchasing their first property. And for me, it was like I said, it helped me so much, and I just wanted to, like I say, lead people in the right direction and teach people the same.
It's like parting the Red Sea.
Yeah.
But you mentioned something that was so important, is being teachable. And you have to have some vulnerability, even as a young black man.
Absolutely.
To be able to be taught to move in those steps.
I had to, I was going to buy a house, because I'm telling y'all, the first thing that I did, because I had saved up about $10,000-$12,000, and I called a mentor of mine. Her name is Keoki Allen. She's a broker. And I'm like, man, Key, I got some bread saved. You know, I got my work history, my tax history. I'm ready to buy a house. And she was like, man, Dre, that sound cool. She was like, but in your situation, you need to be thinking about, you know, doing what's called house hacking, where you live in a unit, and you know what I'm saying, and let other people pay your rent for you. And I got the perfect program for you, because it's not going to require you to come out of a lot of money to do it. It's going to take some time, but what you doing anyway? Like, you know what I'm saying? You doing that anyway. Yeah. So it's like, this program will be perfect for you. And man, she told me the information, and when I tell y'all I ran that play because I knew this was my out, like this was my freedom. It's like, oh, I have a way out now. Because after I start rapping, I'm just like, yo, how am I going to be successful? Because like, I don't got no high level degree or like none of this kind of stuff. So it's like, what are my options to be successful? So I started looking up real estate in the stock market. These are the things that came up when I Googled how do regular people get rich.
Did you
real
do
estate
some
in the
stock market stuff?
Yeah, I invest in the stock market all the time, even to this day. Yeah.
That's what's up. So you said a few things when you spoke, and one thing I want to talk about is telling the world what you did, right? For some reason in our culture, like when we have what we call come up, we want to keep it to ourselves. So I strongly always try to promote individuals to tell people about what it is that they accomplished, so 5 more people can do what they did. And another thing you talked about was patience. So when you say patience with NACA, like what does that mean in time frame as it relates to getting your documents into them? If you don't have a situation where you're trying to structure that deal and you have to work on your credit, but you're ready to go, what is the patience level? Because from my experience, you know, NACA takes a little longer, or the sellers may not like NACA, and you bought 8 years ago, and now today we are in a different market. And I always tell my clients, like how you teach your clients, I'm Loans by Natasha on Instagram, Life Loans by Nina. We talk about teaching and educating you on homeownership all the time. And I don't just take you if it doesn't make sense. Absolutely. I'll refer you. Yeah. So when I get a NACA client, I tell the client, we're in a different market. If it's 34 offers, they might not choose NACA, and your lender matters. But if you know the seller, or if you have a situation, so I like to not speak on different programs and someone that is representing NACA, because people need to know that, because I have a few clients that's in a situation where the seller will wait. So talk to us a little bit about that patience.
In both of my situations, it was a patience thing. And then too, like your team matters, because my agent, you know, he played the emotion card and everything. Like, you know, the sellers, you know, they've been owning their property for 30 years. So, of course, they got an emotional attachment to it. They don't want somebody to just coming in, tearing it down or whatever. He wrote a letter like, hey, look, my clients, they live in the neighborhood, been living in the neighborhood for a long time. Them and their kids, they want to keep going to the schools. They want to take care of the property, all of these different things. It was us versus an investor who was offering cash. So they like, man, we would much rather this family have it.
They went with NACA over cash? Yeah. They had money. They was like, we just going to do some giving right now.
Yeah, and then, too, like, I ended up going up on my offer like an extra $10,000 more than them. You know what I mean? Like I say, that emotion card played a difference, too.
That makes a difference.
And then on the second one, when we bought in Humble Park, it was a guy who's a developer, but he's a Puerto Rican guy. And he like, I'm so glad a young brown couple came in, because these white people been trying to lowball me like I don't know what I have.
Right.
He don't look like a developer. He don't act like a developer. He told us he was a developer because, you know, he was being transparent with us. But he like, when these people come in here with these suits and all that and trying to play with me, it's like they be insulting me. He was like, so whatever y'all need, I got y'all, because I want y'all to close on this property. So our skin color played a factor.
Wow.
In that. Like, you know what I'm saying? It be so many different circumstances and situations that can play in your favor, not just the lender, because a lot of times the people don't care about where the money coming from. Are you approved? All right, cool. Like, do I like you though? Do I like your agent? Do my attorney like your attorney? Like, are all the parts that are involved getting along enough to make this deal go through? Because it's been times where I done seen people piss off an attorney and they done told their client to walk away from the deal just because they were messed.
Attorneys kill deals.
Attorneys can.
You get what I'm saying to you?
But I do want to mention something. Lenders do matter. Yeah. Lenders do matter.
Especially in the Chicago market.
In the Chicago market,
I'm not saying they don't. I'm saying that that's not always a factor in somebody accepting your deal or not. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And I think also what you guys should hear today from him is that stop being scared. A lot of times, because we don't have any money and we're in down payment assistance and we got low credit scores, we think we just have to take what's available
Whatever.
to us.
Yeah.
Boy, listen.
Yeah.
Submit your story. Submit your best bet. That's the one thing that I have been amazing with. I started as somebody assistant to running my own branch because I always had the mindset that I can do anything, right? I started from the bottom and now we worked our way up. So stop being scared to ask for what you want from these sellers.
For what you want.
To tell
like-
your seller, you never know how you might touch them. They may too have worked at Walgreens
And
at
look
$8
at
an
you.
hour when they started, and now your story resonated to them. And even though there was a $15,000 higher offer, that letter, they already have money. So that letter may say, look, let me give back today to this person because their story resonates with me. So,
Facts.
make sure that you do look into that.
Big facts, and don't limit yourself either. Like, I wasn't making that much money. I bought in 2 of the best neighborhoods around the city.
$26,000.
That isn't a lot of money.
By 12, that means you was making
But
$13,000.
I mean,
about $2,000 a month.
$13 an
Like, you
hour.
get what I'm saying?
I mean, but
You bought a house at $13
I just gave that testimony, just like you. 10 years ago, I was working at a nonprofit. I still qualified for medical assistance from the government for my kids. It was only the medical, but I'm working all day. And something told me there was more for me than that. But I want to go back to something that you said, because we don't want to steer away from that. You actually paid more, put an offer in more, $10,000 more than what the property was listed for, or than what the developer.
So I paid, I offered an extra 10 because, and it's a crazy story how it went. They originally accepted my offer, but the husband wasn't home to sign the contract. So as he was coming home from work to sign the contract, the cash offer came in, and it was the same amount as ours.
So you had to make it better. If they gonna
So
wait,
our
they gotta
agent
do
was
more.
like, "Yeah, I thought we had a deal, but the husband didn't sign the contract, and another offer came in. So they're saying put in your highest and best first thing in the morning." So they like, "All right, what you want to do?" I'm like, "Man, I'm willing to go up like an extra 10. You know what I mean? I don't really got much
Smart
outside of that."
move.
And he was like, "All right, cool." So he put the offer in the next morning. He was like, "Man, congratulations, you got yourself a contract." They accepted our offer, and it was just like exciting to me because, like I said, I knew that like my life was about to change. I'm going from, like I say, struggling, not knowing how I'm gonna feed my kids, not knowing if I'm gonna be able to pay my bills on time, to all of these different things, to essentially like having the freedom of just like, man, like I don't even necessarily have to go to work anymore.
Yes.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that
And I'm still working on
relief, that relief, that feeling. Like I haven't
We all
worked,
are.
I haven't worked since 2016. So it's just kind of like, having that feeling alone is what like keep me motivated, and it keeps me wanting to tell people about the power of real estate. And it's funny because my guy Jamal King just walked in the building, and he says all the time that one piece of property can change your life, and that's exactly what happened for me. That first piece of property, it changed my life in a sense where all of the money that I was working for, I was able to reverse it and put it back in my pocket and not pay it out for bills, which allowed me to invest in more property, which allowed me to invest in the stock market, which allowed me to create my brand, which allowed me to go out and buy equipment to start building my story and creating my content and all of these different things that I wouldn't have been able to do. In addition to that, it gave me my time back because now I don't have to work 60 hours a week to make ends meet. So now this excess time that I have, I can read, I can go and learn, I can go spend time with my children. Time that I didn't have before, I now have it back. You know what I
So you
mean?
multiplied
In
your
addition to
time.
that, it gave me tax benefits, y'all. It gave me cash flow. It gave me all of these different amazing things that I did not know that one property would give me and how it would like change my life. And then it just makes you want to like, you know what? I want to keep doing this because I see what one can do. Imagine what 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 can do. You know what I mean? And that's just the power of just buying that one piece of property. It give you time freedom back. It give you cash flow, tax benefits, and a host of other things if you do it the right way and you buy right.
Exactly. And what advice would you give to somebody, because everyone's listening on social media, and I think people just want to just jump out into this other world right away. And I always tell people, take one step at a time. So what advice would you give someone that was interested in a NACA loan program and purchasing property today?
The first thing I always tell anybody, man, educate yourself. Learn as much as you can before you go and, take a gamble. Like, I like to, take calculated risk. I don't gamble. So before I do anything, I like to learn as much as I can about whatever it is I'm about to put my money into, my time into, any of that kind of stuff. Learn as much as you can. Ask questions. Go find people who are doing what you want to do or who have done what you want to do already. Like, They got the blueprint. Why are you trying to figure this out and recreate the wheel already? If I got a program called Navigate NACA and it's $47, why would you not go spend $47 to save yourself all of this time, all of this money that you're going to spend trying to learn how to get through this program and all that? When I just gave you a fast track for $47, you spend that on shots at the bar, you spend that on weed, you spend that on, you know what I'm saying, whatever it is that you're, you know what I'm saying, like vice is, like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, at the end of the day, man, putting a little bit of money into yourself, putting a little bit of energy, time, effort into yourself, making sure you got the proper education before you do something, man, it can save you hundreds of thousands of dollars on the back end, because what you're doing is you stopping yourself from making mistakes or having to pay somebody to tell you don't do this or don't do that. Like what they say, knowledge is power. And the things you don't know, you're going to have to pay for.
Yeah,
that's why college is the most monetizing institution in the world, because they're charging you for information that you don't know.
Exactly.
And if you're able to cut out the middleman and educate yourself, you can save yourself a whole lot of money, a whole lot of time, and a whole lot of headache.
Yep. And how long would it take a person from start to finish to navigate through a NACA?
So for me, I never give a set time, because all of that is circumstantial. It depends on your circumstances, your situation, your level of readiness, how prepared you are with your documents, how fast you are with getting your documents in, how you understand technology, because everything is technology now. You uploading documents, you're not taking papers in no more. Like, you know what I'm saying? You got to be able to understand how the computer work, how software work, how different apps work, how to print out a PDF and not be screenshot and stuff. Like, all of these things matter in the efficiency of your deal and the timetable of your deal. And also, it's a market where there's very, very, very low inventory. So, like, you can't necessarily blame the lender or whoever else that is taking so long. Like, it's just a process trying to find properties out here that meet the right numbers and qualify, like, you know what I mean, with the lender, and that's going to make it make sense for you to be there and not be underwater. You know what I mean? So you have to actually go out and spend time finding a good deal for yourself too, and that's not always easy. That's why it's important to have the right people on your team, agents, attorneys, where you can tell them what your goals are, and they can go out and kind of like, you know, put you in the best position possible. So I always tell people, man, hire you a good team. Make sure if you're looking for a multi-unit property, make sure you work with an agent who specializes in finding multi-unit properties. Like, you know what I'm saying? In your area. Don't just go find somebody who all they done sold is single-family homes and condos, and you telling them you want a multi-family property, and they keep on sending you single families and condos because that's all they know, or that's what they trying to put on you. And it's like, no, work with people who have your best interests in mind and who want to see you win. So if I tell my agent, my lender, my attorney, hey, look, I'm looking for a multi-unit property that I can live in. Listen, if I got to pay a few dollars, that's fine, but I would love for this thing to make enough money for it to cover the mortgage, and I can make a few dollars. Once you're able to, you know, communicate this with your team, they can go out and find that kind of deal for you. But if you don't know what you're looking for, you're going to get put in a situation that your agent deems best for you, your attorney deems best for you, whoever deems best for you outside of you, because you don't know shit.
Correct.
Now, quick question, and clarify this for me. Does the real estate agent have to have any kind of certification or credentials to participate in the NACA program?
So you have NACA agents, and then you have agents who aren't necessarily NACA agents, but they can, you know, just register with NACA and still do a deal outside of being a NACA agent. NACA agents don't get paid as much as outside agents. You know what I mean? NACA takes a big percentage of their money, essentially because they're guaranteeing them deals constantly. They pushing deals through, so they guarantee their money. They don't got to work as hard.
It's like if they're a preferred agent to NACA.
Yeah.
But if they were an outside agent and
they get a higher
their
percentage.
client had a NACA pre-approval, do they make their same percentage? Or
Yeah, they
does
still
NACA
got the
work
same
with them?
percentage.
Yeah.
Because that was a myth back in the day. They would say the reason why NACA, because back when I started, NACA's rates used to be like 1.99.
Yeah.
So they would say that the seller had to contribute a little bit and the agents had to contribute a little bit in order to get to that price. But once again, people always talking about what everyone says, and I always tell them you need to ask NACA, not Nina and Natasha, because we don't work for NACA.
Yeah.
So I've always sent them back.
And it be so many rumors, and it be so much he say, she saying bad stuff. And what I notice is most of the time, the people that's saying the bad stuff are the people that quit. Like, you never hear nobody who made it through the NACA program say nothing bad about NACA.
Meaning they have
Like,
no property, so they
have
can
no
no
property.
a non-homeowner.
So now they mad because, they didn't have their documentation turned in time. They thought no down payment meant you could come with no money at all. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they did this, they did this. It's like, no, you got to pay for your taxes. You got to pay for your insurance. Like, you got to pay for your inspection fees. Like, it's certain stuff that they don't pay for, and you're going to have money for. You can't just come with bad credit and no money and think these people finna give you a property. No down payment, no closing costs. That doesn't mean that.
Right.
That just means these are the benefits of the program. You still have to come looking a certain type of way. You know what I mean?
No, I understand.
Like, you're not all the way qualified for a mortgage, but they at least want to work with you. Like, you gotta have something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
have something.
if you own the property, are there any restrictions after ownership? Like, let's say you own the property, you own the 4-unit, and you get relocated from your job to Virginia or something. Are there any restrictions on retaining the property afterwards?
With that, I believe you can either refinance out of it or sell it. But with NACA, you do have to live in the property.
The entire time.
The entire time of ownership.
After 5 years, you have the option, like I say, to refinance or do whatever else you want to do with it. But you do have to live in the property.
For minimum 5 years.
Yeah, but what I tell people all the time is you can still be an investor. They don't say that you cannot be an investor. So you can do what I did. Go through the NACA program, save all that money and down payment, closing costs, etc. Live there, then use that big old bag of money that you saved to go and invest.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
To sign up for making real estate real.
To sign up for making real estate real. To go get your loan from Guarantee Rate, Natasha and Nina. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't limit you or stop you. So that's why I tell people, go through the NACA program to get the biggest and the best property you can find. Man, I went to Bucktown and I went to Forest Park, right next door to Oak Park. Amazing neighborhoods with high rents. I knew, like, all right, this is where the high rent at.
Right.
Yeah.
If I want a multi-unit, I need to go somewhere where the high rent's at, because the higher the rents, which means my mortgage is going to get paid down and there's going to be cash flow left over for me to put in my pocket. And, like, you don't have to limit yourself in buying the hood. You ain't got to be poor.
Exactly.
Like, you can be making 6 figures and still go through the NACA program.
That's amazing.
Like it's like, and still get offered the lowest interest rate in the country, all of these different things. So I tell people all the time, in this particular economic climate, with such high rates, high home prices, etc., for your first time, why would you not at least consider, just go have a conversation to see if you qualify for some of this free money that these people out here giving out.
Or go the Navigate NACA course.
So that way you can learn the process.
Yeah.
Because when you get with your typical lender, we are going to tell you, I will tell you that I was 300% anti-NACA. 500. Because the process, and no one ever, and I remember the long lines at the McCormick Place when everyone was standing in those lines, and then everyone would come, not everyone, but some of them would come back to us because the seller wouldn't wait. And I always tell my clients, like, we're not going to be the exact program, but the good thing about me is we're here to get you ready.
Yep.
My, fiduciary responsibility is to get my people to own properties. Because
hold on, now she just used a big word telling you they don't know what fiduciary means. Now, fiduciary means that she has to, by law, have your best interest in mind. Like, that's her responsibility. That's what she signed up for. That's what she agreed to. So when you hear Natasha say fiduciary, that's a major, major key. And anybody you work with when it comes to your money, you want to make sure that they are a fiduciary and have your best interest in mind. So don't let that go over your head. She just dropped a major gem with that. It's her fiduciary responsibility shit, y'all.
Right,
so
because people think, I had 4 people call me today, right, about refinancing. If you got a 2.75% interest rate, I'm going to recommend you to get a line of credit. Yes, I can make money off you today, but I want to see all of my people win. We want you to still maintain your homes in our communities where we're no longer going to be able to live in because everyone from overseas are learning from these courses and they're buying our properties here. So it is very important for you to go with what's best for you. I always tell people to do your research. When you're in this market, it's crazy. If there's a lot of people that want to buy the property and there's a bidding war, some sellers may not entertain NACA. But like he said today, at least shoot your best shot.
Yep.
Because you never know, that seller may be a millionaire and not really need to sell and have the ability to wait because he wants to make a difference because someone did the very same thing for him when he first bought his first house 20 years ago. So you never know who's on the outside looking in. So I appreciate you, giving us that feedback. And I am happy to be able to bring somebody that I personally know to you guys, because I get asked about NACA all the time. Now, if somebody wants to do a NACA loan, how would they apply? Like, where do they go?
You would go to the website, www.naca.com. You register for their seminars, about 4 hours, 3 hours at minimum. You could either do it online or you do it in hours.
4 hours?
in person. But again, y'all, I'm telling you, it's worth it though, because once you see, I just posted a testimonial from one of my students. He was like, y'all, I had questions about if I should be doing NACA as I'm going through the process. Did I make a mistake? He said, boy, when I saw those closing documents and I saw how much money I saved in closing costs, he was like, I absolutely made the right decision, because y'all don't understand. 3.5%, 5%, 10%, 20% down on $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 is not no small amount of money. And that's just the closing costs.
Especially when you're man on your side of town.
You get what I'm saying
Most of y'all
to
go
you?
to Inglewood because y'all don't have the opportunity to get that down.
And that's one of the benefits. Like I say, the option to be able to buy the interest rate down and make it more affordable for you to get in a better neighborhood. All of these different things, man. I don't know a lot of people or lenders that are offering that with your minimum credit score. You not having no whole lot of money saved up. Like, so again, if you can, man, go get you some of this free money. And then after that, go see Natasha and Nina. And if you can't, start with Natasha and Nina. But I tell people all the time, man, the free money is out here. You just got to not be scared to go get it. Put your pride to the side. So what if it's a government-funded program? It's funded by Bank of America, one of the biggest banks in the world. Like, why are you worried about who it's funded by or letting your pride get in the way? Go get you some of this free money, man. That's all I can tell you.
What's that minimum credit score?
Ain't no minimum
Ain't no
credit
minimum.
score.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's what
they
I
look
thought
at
you were saying.
they
I
look-
just
It's
wanted to
your
put
profile.
followers
They
in
It's your
look.
profile.
They
That's what
look
I'm
at your
saying. It's your
credit
profile.
history. They look at your credit history,
rent
your credit,
history,
your
yeah.
credit profile, your rent history. Walking away today, what would be the number one advice? Well, you gave us that. How can people contact you?
At Renaissance 125 RENAISSANCE 125 across all social media. You can, get my courses. You can book one-on-one consultations. You can do my Navigate NACA course, Introduction to Real Estate course. I also have a course where I teach people about peer space. So a lot of times people are in situations where they're not making money. They don't have a way to make money. Man, you can use the place where you live, whether you own it or not, to rent it out to people who may do photo shoots, video shoots, corporate companies on peer space. I've made money from peer space. So I teach all of these different things. And, there is no limit on ways that you can make money out here, whether you own real estate or not, you know what I mean? And I just want people to have all of those options. And if you want to get in touch with me, that's the best way to do it.
Wow.
And also, I want y'all to know, these are two real ones because, again, NACA is not what they do. They are guaranteed rate. This is how y'all know y'all dealing with real ones. For them to put somebody else's information in front of y'all that will not put money in their pocket, and it's more so to just, put you in the best situation. That's how you know you're dealing with real people. They care about you more than they care about.
And I just want to say African American home ownership has been the same percentage
For
since
50 years.
1978. So we bring you here because this is not just about closing a loan. It's not about, and we said that tonight, but we have to increase our home ownership.
Yep.
We have to make more house hackers. Hack programs. Don't just hack properties. We're giving you the
Hack
opportunity to hack
programs.
programs today. I have many clients that come to me with NACA. They may use me as the backup just in case they have a seller that's not willing to wait. But like you said, shoot your shot, hack the programs. Everything is out here for you guys. You just got to take advantage of it. And people think, like I said that before, that you're owning houses for generational wealth. No, you're owning houses for retirement. Your first house, after 30 years, it becomes paid in full. And after it becomes paid in full, guess what? Then your property taxes eventually get frozen. And now you don't have to be working at 80 years old, making minimum wage to pay your rent because you're able to live free. So lots of opportunities there. So I appreciate you taking advantage of that house hacking opportunity. And you didn't even talk about, gaining equity and all of that stuff.
Well, we need that's too much for them right now.
know, right?
We gotta bring them back. Right. But something about your brand. You have another brand.
Yeah, I have a brand called Mindsets Matter. I don't have it on right now because sometimes I just get tired of winning. Y'all, I ain't gonna lie. Like I win.
I never tired.
I
never tired of seeing it.
I've seen him without it. I've never seen him without
All
it.
day, every day, y'all. So
When he
today I
walked
just
in,
wanted
I
to
thought he was gonna pull off his
I just
sweatshirt.
wanted to throw something different on today. But yeah, I do have a brand called Mindset Matters, and I created my brand Mindset Matters to essentially put positivity into the universe without necessarily saying anything. I have 4 different designs. One is Mindset Matters. One is Books Are the Keys. One is Happiness Over Everything. And one is Happiness is Greater Than Money. So a lot of times when I'm in schools, I might be in the hospital, I might be walking down the street in a realtor's office. Somebody might be like, man, I really like your shirt. That's so true. That's this. I didn't even say anything. It's just a message that it gives off. And too, it be fly. Like when I rock it with my mics, like, you know what I'm saying? All that. So it's like I really put it on top of like getting a positive message out there too. So yeah, man, if you want to support the brand Mindset Matters. And I also have a book, Renaissance's 5-Step Guide on Getting Your Together. And that's just Renaissance's 5-Step Guide on Getting Your Together. And it's pretty much my 5-step blueprint that I had to take to get my mindset right before I got into real estate, before I got into any entrepreneurship business. Just like self-evaluation, understanding that, you know, I'm in my own way. It's not nobody else's fault. Understanding the power of my mind and my words, speaking positivity into the universe. Like, I cover all of these different things in the books because at the end of the day, like I tell people, before you go get money, before you get business, before you get real estate, you got to get your mind right, because if you don't and you attain any of those things, you're going to lose it all because your mind not in the right place. You know what I mean? You don't even know how to handle yourself. You don't know how to move. You don't know how to deal with money. Like, you're just not in the right mental space to even be able to deal with these kind of responsibilities. So for me, mindset is the number one thing over all of this stuff.
I know that's right.
And like,
So,
go ahead, like you said, in your own way. How many of y'all in your own way?
You are, but I was gonna say we're gonna have to buy a couple of those books and bless some listeners with it.
That's right. So we don't want you to be in your own way, and that's why we came up with the Stand on Your Business podcast.
Let's go.
Where you can get out of your way, and we're gonna be getting in your business, giving you the business, so you can bring the real tea on the real tea. What you say?
Real tea on real tea.
No, let's go. I like that tagline.
Real tea. Stand on your business.